If you're constantly tired, struggle to focus at least without drinking 3 cups of coffee, and hit that kind of afternoon slump where you could literally fall asleep at your desk, even though you are already sleeping enough and have no idea why in the world you're always so exhausted, the problem might not be your sleep, but actually what you're putting on your plate, or rather, what you're not putting on your plate. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 5 most common nutrition reasons why people are constantly exhausted even when they sleep enough, along with science-backed tips on what to do about them so that you finally have energy and can make the most of your days. If you're new here, hello, I'm Hannah. I'm also a health coach with certifications in nutrition and in fitness. And on this channel, I help women to be, eat, and think healthier without overwhelm or restriction, and instead with ease, clarity, and joy. So if that's something you want to see more of, make sure to subscribe and stick around. Let's get into the video. Okay, let's start with the biggest one, nutrient deficiencies. So the thing is that your body does not just magically create energy, but it needs specific raw materials to actually make that energy at a cellular level. So especially things like iron, magnesium, B vitamins, vitamin D, and zinc are essential, not just a nice to have, essential for your body to create energy. They're sort of the building blocks for producing energy. Just as proteins are the building blocks for your muscle, these micronutrients are the building blocks for your energy. So ideally, we get all of these macronutrients from food. Still, many of us are deficient in many of these micronutrients. Why? Well, first of all, many of us don't eat enough whole foods. Second, even if you already are eating healthy, you also need specific kinds of foods for specific kinds of macronutrients. For example, the best source for iron is animal products. If, however, you do not eat animal products, you can still get enough iron, but it's a lot more difficult. There is a good amount of iron in, for example, spinach, pumpkin seeds, and lentils, but plant-based iron is more difficult to absorb. So even if you eat a good amount of iron, some of it just goes through. A little hack here is to combine that plant-based iron or any kind of iron with vitamin C, because the vitamin C makes it easier to absorb the iron even if it's plant-based. And what I like to do here is just squeeze lemon juice over my spinach or my lentil pasta or my lentil stew, or have berries with your oatmeal where you put the pumpkin seeds on top, and that way you have the vitamin C along with your plant-based iron. The best sources for B vitamins is eggs and meat and fish, and if you are plant-based or fully vegan, it is very difficult to get enough B vitamins. So in that case, you really do need to supplement. Magnesium you can find in pumpkin seeds, for example, banana, almonds, chocolate, avocados, which is also one reason, by the way, why we tend to crave chocolate right before our period, because during that phase, our body needs a lot of magnesium, also to help with the cramps. Vitamin D you can find in fatty fish, egg yolks, or some kinds of dairy, but vitamin D is really hard, basically impossible to get enough of just from foods, but you can also get it from sunlight. However, if you wear sunscreen, which you should, it is very likely that your body still doesn't get enough vitamin D from the sunlight, because the sunscreen kind of blocks the sunlight, so no vitamin D can be produced. So here again, especially if you use sunscreen and or you live in a not so sunny country, it is pretty likely that at least in the winter months you need vitamin D supplementation. So the goal is to eat really a high variety of whole foods, different kinds of plants, different kinds of protein sources, different kind of grains, nuts, seeds, fruits. The more variety, the likelier it is that you get the micronutrients that you need. However, first of all, if you have to or want to leave out certain food groups, for example, no animal products, no meat, no gluten, no dairy, you need to be very intentional to get these micronutrients from other sources, either from foods or from supplements. But second of all, in reality, even if you eat all different kinds of foods and are eating pretty healthy overall, it is very difficult to get all the micronutrients that you need, if not impossible nowadays. Even I, being the health nerd that I am and having the knowledge that I have, I eat pretty well and I do know where to get my nutrients from. But I also know that I'm not getting the optimal amount of all the micronutrients from the foods that I eat. Because first, the soil quality is not what it used to be, which is why in the produce there's not all the micronutrients that used to be in there, not in the same amounts. So for some vegetables, for example, we nowadays would have to eat a lot more than 50 or 100 years ago, when there was more of a micronutrient density in the foods. Second, it's hard or not fun to eat 100% perfect in that sense. Because, life happens. You're busy, you travel, you eat out, you don't want to eat for your micronutrients all the time. And that's totally normal and fine, but it creates gaps. Third, some nutrients are just really hard to get just from foods. For example, vitamin D, at least if you use sunscreen. Or when you menstruate, you lose a lot of iron. Or when you're stressed, you need more magnesium. Or if you have digestive issues, you're just not absorbing all the nutrients as efficiently as necessary. Which is why I have been supplementing for a long while now, and it's made such a big difference in both my energy levels but also my overall health. If you're still confused which supplements exactly you need or don't want to be taking 10 different pills throughout your day, I have a very easy solution for you, namely IM8, who are very kindly sponsoring today's video. If you haven't heard of them yet, IM8 is the all-in-one daily supplement for more energy, better gut health, better sleep, sharper mental and physical performance, and it makes it so easy to give your body all the micronutrients that it needs. It is a blend of 92 whole food ingredients, including those energy critical B vitamins, magnesium and vitamin D, which by the way is one thing that sets it apart from other green spotters. But also it includes things like antioxidants or adaptogens, which help your body adapt to stress or handle stress better, plus prebiotics and probiotics for your gut health, which is also crucial for energy levels. They only use premium ingredients at clinical dosages. Everything is third-party tested, which I think is crucial when it comes to any kind of supplement brands. They don't hide anything behind proprietary blends, but you can see exactly what's in that powder and how much. And that transparency is super important. And I just mix it with water every morning. It literally takes 30 seconds. And that way I know that I have all my supplements together in one glass. I genuinely recommend you to try out IM8. And of course, you're getting a discount if you use my code and my link in the description. Thank you so much to IM8. And now let's talk about reason number 2, blood sugar roller coaster. You've probably heard by now that eating a protein-rich breakfast especially is very important. Why? Well, for many things, but also for your energy levels. Because when you eat carbs for breakfast, and it can even be healthy carbs, like oatmeal with banana or a berry smoothie bowl with granola. When you eat these carbs, your blood sugar goes all the way up. And then your pancreas goes like, whoa, there's a lot of sugar, because carbs are basically sugar. So I need to level that back down. So it shoots a lot of insulin into your bloodstream to get that blood sugar level down again, and it shoots out so much insulin that your blood sugar crashes, meaning your blood sugar goes down too fast and too low, and that crash feels like shit. You have no energy, you have insane cravings for very energy dense foods, you get moody, and that's something that I used to do all the time, because in the past I was not that big of a breakfast person. So I just had maybe some oats pure with nothing else, or cornflakes, which I still love, but now I know how and when to eat them, and nothing else. So that was pure starch, pure carbs, pure sugar, shooting my blood sugar levels up just for me to crash soon after. But now fortunately I know what to do, and this has made the biggest difference, I think, in my energy levels, which is coating the carbs. Meaning, never eat carbs alone, but always paired with either fats, protein, and or fiber. Optimally, all of the three. Because fiber, protein, and fat help slow down or soften that blood sugar effect of the carbs. Meaning your blood sugar will not go up like this and shoot down like that, but more like go up like this a little bit and then go down like this a little bit, around, back around to base level. And this is the most important for breakfast, because at breakfast you set the tone, the energy tone for the rest of your day. But that also applies especially for lunch, especially if you experience that afternoon slump after lunch like crazy. In general, it's always good, even for dinner, if you help your blood sugar to not go crazy. For breakfast in particular, I now usually have a yogurt bowl with Greek yogurt or skyr, nuts, fruits, oats, all of that kind of stuff. If you like to have a bagel for breakfast, have that bagel, but add cream cheese for the fats and maybe also some salmon for the fats and for the protein. If you like to eat bread, have cottage cheese and or bagel.
What?
No, not a bagel on top. Cottage cheese and or eggs with the bread or the bagel. And the same goes for the rest of your day. For lunch, don't only have pasta with tomato sauce. At least add a lot of olive oil and cheese to it. Even better, a good protein source like tuna, for example. And if, like me, you love carb-rich snacks like cornflakes, which is actually one of my absolute, favorite snacks ever, just have it after a full meal where you had your proteins and your fats and your fiber. And that way, you'll be good. You can even have cake without making your blood sugar go crazy. Just always pair it with proteins, fats, and or fiber. Or have a veggie starter. Have, for example, a little bit of salad, or just even a raw carrot before your meal, your carb-rich meal. Or if you don't have any fiber and maybe also not enough fats and protein, have a little bit of vinegar. Can be apple cider vinegar, but it can basically be any kind of vinegar diluted in water, because for many people that also helps balance their blood sugar levels. Or if you can do neither of these things, move a little bit after eating your carbs. Even just 10 calf raises can really help balance your blood sugar levels. Even better, of course, if you do a little walk, maybe a 5 or 10 minute walk. But I get that that's not always doable, or you're lazy or whatever. But any kind of movement can help so much with balancing your blood sugar. Speaking of protein, reason number 3 is that you're likely just not getting enough protein or not eating enough overall. So many of my clients, when we look at what they're actually eating, they're always kind of trying to, not eat too much because maybe they want to lose some fat. And so many are just under eating way too much. Your body cannot function if you're eating 1200 or even 1400 calories a day, at least not at its optimal level. Of course, you feel drained if your body's not getting enough energy, aka calories, from the foods that you eat. First, because there's just a lack of calories, which is basically just another term for energy. But also, if you don't eat that much in terms of calories, it's also a lot harder to get enough protein. And if you don't get enough protein, you're missing out on that very important macronutrient that helps your body with basically everything, including repairing tissues, regulating your dopamine, stabilizing your blood sugar, and staying full from the foods that you eat, so that you're not craving carbs all the time, which will then again also lead to blood sugar spiking again. So if you're under eating protein, it's no wonder that you feel tired, sluggish, and kind of hungry all the time. And if you're saying I'm eating enough protein without ever having actually tracked how much protein on average you get every day, it is actually very likely that you're not getting enough protein, because this is so common. We tend to overestimate the protein that we eat. So if you've never tracked before, you don't need to track for a long time. Just maybe track for a couple of days how much protein you're actually getting. See if it's about 30 grams per meal, or in some over a day, 2 grams of protein per kilo of your body weight. And let me know in the comments if you're actually hitting that. Because, for example, 2 eggs for breakfast is not enough protein. Pasta with cheese for lunch, also not enough protein. A veggie stir with some chickpeas and rice for dinner, also not enough protein. Now, I get that sometimes it can be overwhelming to know how much you should actually be eating without overeating, but also without undereating, and also how to get enough protein without only eating chicken breast all day long. So if you want my personal guidance, I also offer one-on-one coaching, link in the description. And on my website, I also have a couple of downloads that will make getting your proteins in a lot easier. Also linked in the description. Okay, on to number 4. But before I tell you what it is, can I ask you a question? How much water are you drinking every day? Now, before you think, oh, water again, this is so basic, I'm telling you, this is still so underrated. Because even if you're thinking, I drink my water, leave me alone, chances are you're not. If you're only peeing like every couple of hours, chances are you're not drinking enough, or your bladder is really strong, but I'm guessing the first thing. Or if you regularly feel thirsty, that means you're regularly not drinking enough, because thirst is already a sign of dehydration. So you should drink before you get thirsty, because even a mild dehydration can cause things like fatigue, headaches, brain fog, or just energy dips. So the basic rule of thumb is to drink 8 glasses of water every day, or 2 to 3 liters depending on your body weight and all of that. But there's an even easier thing that you can do to check if you're actually drinking enough, which is looking at your pee. If it's clear at least multiple times a day, you should be good. Whenever it's too colorful, that's a sign that you're not drinking enough. And if you're not drinking enough, make it easy for yourself. Have a big water bottle on your desk if you're working at a desk. Always have a glass of water on your nightstand. Wherever you spend most of your day, always have water reachable. Make it easy for yourself and remind yourself regularly to drink enough water by seeing the glass or the bottle, or if you need it, just set a timer every 2 hours to drink a glass of water, if that helps. Reason number 5 is the root cause for so many things, including shitty energy levels, and that is a poor gut health. If your gut isn't healthy, no matter how many healthy foods you eat, how many supplements you take, your gut can just not absorb these nutrients, because everything goes into your gut, and your gut is there for many things, but also for extracting the nutrients from the foods that you eat. But if it can't do that because it's not healthy, it's not functioning correctly, you first need to start working on improving your gut health. If your gut lining is damaged, if your microbiome is out of balance, if you have inflammation in your gut, it just can't work as efficiently as it should be working. It's like having $1 million in the bank, but not having a debit card that is working, kind of, to actually get something out of the money. So how do you know if it is actually your gut health? Well, if you have any kind of digestive symptoms, that is the clear sign that something is off with your gut. That can be bloating, excessive bloating at least. That can be not going to the bathroom very regularly, aka every day or every other day, or needing the bathroom multiple times a day, or if you've checked all of the other 4 reasons I just mentioned earlier, but still are feeling tired, it's time to give your gut a little bit of attention. And this does not have to be complicated at all. I have a whole gut video coming up soon, so if you don't want to miss that, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. But in short, there are some things that you can do very easily every day to support your gut health. The first thing you can do is to eat probiotic foods. So any kind of fermented foods, for example, yogurt with live bacteria in it. It should say live bacteria. Kefir, kimchi, cooled kimchi, not the kimchi on the shelf because the bacteria, aka the probiotics, are already dead in that. Or if you struggle with finding the right product, you can also supplement probiotics, although the whole foods are always better because there you get all the other micronutrients with it too. Then regularly have prebiotic foods, which is the foods for the probiotic bacteria, the fermentation bacteria, which includes things like onions, garlic, asparagus, unripe bananas. Reduce sugar and especially artificial sweeteners as much as possible, and focus on whole foods instead of junk food. And if you suspect certain types of foods to cause inflammation in your gut, for example, if you're particularly bloated after eating dairy or gluten, you might have a sensitivity or maybe even intolerance to these kinds of foods. If you suspect that, leave that food group out for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then start eating it again and see if there's any difference. Now, you could be also low in energy because you're doing certain healthy nutrition habits that you've heard of, probably on social media, that are actually not so healthy as you might think. In this video right here, I talk about 8 healthy nutrition habits that so many women still do that are actually unhealthy. So make sure you don't actually make these mistakes. And if you want more actionable tips on how to eat and live healthier, I also have a newsletter where I share science-backed tips every week. And also I share more bite-sized tips on my Instagram, both linked in the description. Thanks for watching and take care.